Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. I'm Chris Burdick, back from my trip to Las Vegas to cover the Raiders. That is Sparky, the guy holding it down right here in Bakersfield for us. Sir, how are you?
Yeah.
It's good to see your bright, shining face this
Good
Wednesday.
to see you. Good to see you. I am drinking coffee this
Dude,
morning.
you and me both. I did not sleep well
Oh
last night
my
at all. That's why I
gosh.
got a fat monster right here, which I normally never drink, but I need it for today. We got media day at the fair, which is opening up today.
Yep. We'll be there at 10 o'clock. But we got fair tickets the rest of the week. If you want them, come get them. Text into the
Absolutely.
show 661-842-2000. Now we'll be talking a little NFL. We'll talk some baseball. We've got our Renegade Report with Rob and Ken Calvin coming up at 7:30. And then we're going to talk some fighting. We got, I don't know how to say his name, so I'm just going to say Jesus is going to be in the building at 8:30. 559 fights. He's got a fight coming up next weekend out in Visalia. And I don't want to ruin anything, but I did get a call back. We are ESPN Radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I got reached out about 2 weeks ago as soon as they announced WrestlePalooza.
Mm-hmm.
And I've reached out. I've talked to Evan Cohen's producer, and it's a 50-50 chance, but we might have either Triple H or Cody Rhodes calling in Friday morning. He's supposed to confirm with me, but fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll get somebody ahead of WrestlePalooza coming up this weekend.
I believe they just had Seth Rollins on the show yesterday.
And Braun Breaker this morning.
Breaker this morning. I know that. They were talking to him. Well, I know the Get Up was talking to him as well. They're pushing this really, really hard. Obviously, being the first WWE PLE on an ESPN programming is going to be a big deal. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to want to pay attention on Saturday and tune in. Go get the ESPN app or whatever device you're going to be using and download it. Watch this incredible PLE that's scheduled for Saturday, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be very, very entertaining. And to be honest with you, again, not crazy about the name. I know it's an old school name from EC Dub days. I get that, but I think we could have got something better than WrestlePalooza for ESPN. Right?
You think we get some curveballs, some change-ups then on this PLE just because it's the first of many in ESPN?
Don't know. I'm sure they're going to want to make a big splash. We only have 4 matches scheduled so far. Usually you get about 5 to 7. We're probably going to get at least one more announced, I would assume, on Friday. But it's entirely possible the WWE loves to go above and beyond for these types of things. Being the first ever one on ESPN would not surprise me whatsoever.
I'm just wondering if, as a wrestling fan to a wrestling fan, if we're looking at actual PLE, or are we kind of looking at more of a Saturday night main event, like the debut one?
See, that's what I'm worried about.
Or it's going to be more just nostalgia and pumping it up.
Personally, I mean, I think I can speak for a good portion of wrestling fans, but I don't want a Saturday night's main event feel.
Yeah.
I want a full-blown PLE feel.
Me too.
And if it's anything shorter than that, we're getting this entire ESPN deal started on the wrong foot, because they've already started on a really bad one with the WrestleMania announcement. Although there's been reports where they tried to sell them some sort of WrestleMania. How did they put it? It wasn't kinda. It wasn't necessarily the show itself. Like, it wasn't WrestleMania in Saudi, but it was a WrestleMania branded event out in Saudi that was originally pitched to the country, and they said, "Yeah, no, we want the real deal." And so
I did read that they, following up with UNKG, pretty much agreed on, but they were pushing. They want appearances by Stone Cold. Yep. They want appearances by The Undertaker. They want all these classic Hall of Famers.
Undertaker, 100% you can get done. Some of these guys you can't, or at least in my opinion, I could be proven wrong though, obviously. I don't know if you're going to be able to get guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin and stuff and those guys to come back.
As he's mentioned, I'm not going into anything unless it's in Nevada.
Exactly. And if you can't get him to show up to Vegas, which don't know the ins and outs of the backgrounds of all of this. I'm sure there was a deal done, because from what I understand, the entire squabble between Taker and Rock was actually supposed to be Stone Cold and Rock. Stone Cold couldn't make it, so they switched it up last second, and Undertaker was called down to be part of it. And in classic Taker fashion, he's just a walking massive man that is meant to be a wrestler. So you ask him to do anything wrestling based, he's gonna get it done like that.
He'll be there.
So realistically speaking, I just don't know if any amount of money is going to change Steve Austin's mindset of coming back to the WWE. And again, it's like I said yesterday, although, yes, I understand TKO is, well, attached at the hip, really, to the Saudi Arabian government. And this was bound to happen eventually. People still aren't crazy about the idea. It's still kind of changing up the idea of what WrestleMania is, even to the people who work it. And to be completely honest with you, we got to see how this first one goes before any of the legends really start saying, you know what, yeah, we could probably get in on this. I know it's WrestleMania and it's essentially the Super Bowl. And like I also heard Coachman say and Electrosa, if you don't say yes to a match or any kind of appearance at WrestleMania, you're essentially throwing away your job. So I get it. Thunder Rosa is absolutely right. But still, you're talking about Saudi Arabia, you're talking about Riyadh. This isn't exactly a vacation spot. So people aren't going to be bringing their families to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to go watch them at WrestleMania. They're probably going to look at their family and say, nah, we'll wait till next year when we come back to the States. So it's really not moving towards, I think, the ideal in which they were hoping it would be, but they're still going to get a crap ton of money. And that's essentially what this is all about.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, when they moved it to Vegas for next year, it was money involved. So if they were going to move away from Vegas, it had to be a serious stack of cash.
And that's what I'm thinking, because if they moved away from New Orleans to Vegas out of nowhere, again, as we've heard from a lot of the internet and KG said yesterday, money talks, especially in sports entertainment. And at the end of the day, this is a business, much like everybody else. And if people are going to pay copious amounts of money to get WrestleMania in their home country, that's what's going to happen. But we are focused on WrestlePalooza this weekend on Saturday. Fantastic matches up and down the board, including the return of one Brock Lesnar. We'll get into a lot of contact sports news with our guys from the 559 Fights. Let's shift over real quick and talk about Sparky's Mariners, because Cal Raleigh continues to make probably one of the most convincing resumes for an MVP I've seen in quite some time, and they're still saying Aaron Judge might steal it from him.
Yep.
What do we gotta do? Take away the Yankees moniker. Be honest. Take away the Yankees team from Aaron Judge with the stat line he has right now. Is he still in the conversation? Let's be honest. Cal is crushing it. He's historically relevant in everything he's doing. There is no way, in my opinion, that this should go any other way. But I swear, if the MLB writers, if there's some way that this turns around and Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani walk away with the MVPs, maybe it's a good thing. I'm sitting in my room last night, kind of thinking about this when I read the story about Cal. And I'm having these same thoughts in my mind, thinking, God, there's going to be something. There's going to be something. There's always something that turns it from, oh, we can't give it to the Seattle guy because it's a small market. We got to give it to the Yankee. If that happens, maybe it's a good thing, Spark, because in sports, traditionally, the guy who wins regular season MVP normally doesn't do a whole ton in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a good thing that Cal could be pushed out of the MVP race and get given to Aaron Judge, giving the Seattle Mariners at least some sort of fire and momentum in their own belly to sit there and say, oh, okay, you're going to shortchange us for how good of a year we had. Let's show them how far we can go.
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, what
hopefully
are your
was that 10-game winning streak. I saw the same argument yesterday even before he hit 2 homers last night, passing Mickey Mantle. But my question is now, if it's not going to go by those statistics, I mean, obviously, Aaron Judge has been passing some Hall of Fame big names in his Yankees race or chase, but I still think Cal is the MVP. I always would say the same thing about Schwarber, but I don't think either one of our guys is going to get it.
No, I don't think so either. But again, that's where I'm at with the MLB is where is the bar? Like what is being set for these guys to kind of jump over to win these accolades? Because again, if for some reason that the entire thing goes down to Aaron Judge wins the AL MVP and Cal Raleigh gets absolutely just again screwed. The easiest way I can put it. I'm trying to find a nicer word to say, but it's not. It's screwed. If Cal gets screwed out of the AL MVP, what are we going to look for next year? The year after that? Basically, all you're telling me is if you don't play for the Yankees or the Dodgers, the two teams that make us the most money,
Hey, you're not in the running.
you're not in the running. We don't care. You can have a historically incredible season, and they would not give a damn. And again, what on the planet Earth of baseball is more valuable than a 60 home run hitting, 100 plus RBI getting, two, I'm sorry, what's he hitting right now? 260?
Yeah.
Something like that. 260 hitting, switch hitter, catcher that also possibly, if he could work on his defensive game a little bit more, could be also a gold glover.
I mean, the kid
What's
just
more
passed Mickey
valuable?
Mantle as a record switch hitting home run season record.
That's what I'm saying. What would this kid have to do?
I mean,
Like, there's
he's
literally
about to
nothing.
pass Ken Griffey. I don't get it either,
I
but
really don't.
I can understand with the Yankees, all the history of Yankee homer hitters, but still, with even with Judge when he went down and missed a couple weeks of baseball, I thought that was a lock.
Mhm.
But now he's came back. He's looked good. It's Aaron Judge for God's sake.
Well, yeah.
It's not like he's just some pushover, but I think it's more of the name recognition. And I'm almost starting to feel like a lot of these awards are all the same.
Mhm.
And I mean, I was on the fence. I thought Barkley should have got MVP in the NFL last year, but I also understand Josh Allen and what he's had to pass.
Mhm.
We know when players like Mahomes and Lamar and all these. I mean, that's a hell of a quarterback record. You know what I mean? But I hopefully, if he doesn't, hopefully that he takes that attitude in the playoffs, and we see the Mariners in the World Series.
And well, and I have to highlight this as well because I mean, not only is Cal probably the most valuable player in baseball, in my opinion, but the Yankees have had a really bad year in terms of record. So, how valuable is Aaron really? You know what I mean? Like, if we're really boiling it down, if the MVP race is supposed to be the best player in the regular season statistically, and somebody who has an incredible impact on their team to turn around their record, Al Raleigh, once again, I can't highlight enough. A team where we came in thinking Julio Rodriguez was the best player on the team, and we really weren't going to see a whole ton from everybody else. And then Cal has this kind of a year. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me that writers are still like, how is this not a sprint away with the MVP race? The NL, I'll give you because Shohei Ohtani is still Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, same with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is still Aaron Judge. But if we're going to sit there and really boil it down, the Dodgers and the Phillies are way closer in competition than the Seattle Mariners and the Yankees. So I can get the argument for the NL, not for the AL. This should be a easy walk away for Cal Raleigh. And if it doesn't go that way, baseball fans are about to riot.
Well,
I genuinely believe
we'll
that.
take our first break. We'll get into some other baseball stories, some up to date playoff standings, and then we'll get into our Renegade report with Kenny, and hopefully Rob will get in here. I know he's got a surgery this morning, so he said he will try to jump in before, but we'll get into that. And if you'd like to win some fair passes, text into the show. I'll put you in the running. We've got 3 guys already in the running
Fantastic.
right here at 842-2000. We are the early bird special.
Welcome back. This is really special right here on Camp, ESPN Bakersfield. I got a text message during the break that actually was a really good point, and granted, it it's from a while back, but it's a Dodger fan that reminded me that Matt Kemp was snubbed out of the MVP race a couple years ago because the Dodgers weren't a playoff team at the time. And then, fast forward a couple years later, Mike Trout wins a handful of MVPs without actually being a playoff team in the Angels because we all know how bad the Angels have been historically. And that's a really good point, to be honest with you, is how much of an impact were guys like Mike Trout really making teams that weren't making the playoffs. Now, it's a very, very good comparison as well, especially with this right here. But I still stand by my statement. This is why I think every sport needs to go back and really establish the bar with this MVP award across the board. What are we looking for? Are we looking for the guy who creates the most impact on his team, turns the team around, and creates a playoff contender? Are we talking about the guy who has the best statistical year? Because I mean, you already have, at least in baseball, you have an award for that, the Silver Slugger. Same with defensively, you got the Golden Glove. So, what is the bar for the MVP? I think that's really the long and short of it. And at this point, I still am going to stand by it. There's nothing more valuable than a switch hitting, 60 home run getting catcher that honestly has been the pinnacle of consistency for at least off the field. Never been in trouble. Seems like a pretty valuable guy to me, somebody you should be able to reward. So I just say that you gotta break away from this entire tendency of, "Oh, just because it's a Yankee, we have to give him some sort of leeway," or I guess in the case of the texter, Mike Trout with the Angels. And it's a very valid point.
Yeah.
It's a very, very valid point that I did not consider. But at the same time, I think that just the main idea of all of this conversation should be we need to reestablish that bar somewhere along the line and fix this.
And maybe update the people that are voting for it.
Yeah, that too. Or at least let us know who's voting for it.
Mhm.
Because I swear, because every time I hear about this, it's like, "Oh, it's a panel of writers and stuff like that." Who are the writers? Because 'Cause Imma tell you right now, I mean, just being in the Raider room on Monday, if we just took that panel of people, including myself and JR Flores, and asked who should be the MVP of the NFL, I'd look at everybody and say, "Put your pens down. Ain't nobody in here should be voting on this. Not a single person. What are we talking about?" So that's why I'm like, I agree with you. We need to update who's doing this,
How
what
many
the
people
program.
are in that in the press room or in the press box?
Oh, God.
100?
No, not that
Less?
much, but
Okay.
probably about, I would say, at the most 40, 50.
I mean, I saw
No,
me and
maybe it
JR
is
were talking
more.
about it, and I was showing him it kinda looked like a sportsbook room.
It really does. It's 3 rows of multiple chairs and seats, obviously. I could not tell you, I didn't really sit down and look at the exact number. We were number 26 and 25. And I think we were about halfway through the list. So I would say about 50 at the
Right
most,
on.
but that's not counting coaches in the coaching box and stuff like that. Oh, and that's the other thing we should talk about too, is everybody was so up in arms about Tom Brady being in the coaching box on Monday.
Oh, yes.
Didn't break a rule.
Freddie and Harry were all over that yesterday.
There's not a single rule that says that he can't be in there.
So I dug into it because I was like, yeah, I could see because Freddie was like, it's cute that Brady did the Bears game last
Mhm.
week. And who are the Raiders playing this week?
The
Oh, they're
Bears.
playing the
Yeah.
Bears. Oh, and you're telling me that he doesn't have any insight. And he said, people should really look into this. And if it wasn't Tom Brady, it wouldn't have been approved to let him do it. I I'm kind of on the fence because I was skeptic when it came out with like, okay, if he's going to be a part of a team, then he shouldn't be involved with practices or
Mhm.
into the locker room. But I mean, Brady, he is banned from attending team facility practices
Mhm.
or production meetings in person, but he is allowed to sit in booths.
I heard that they waived that though. Didn't they
Well, that
announce that
was
they
what the
waived?
NFL said that he is not allowed to go
Okay, so he's
into.
still not allowed to do
He is allowed to sit in the booth during
that.
games,
Right.
and he, as long as he's only using league issued electronics,
Yes.
because they can monitor what
Yes.
he's saying or hearing. So they can, I mean, just like anything else, they can babysit the conversation, and if he
Oh, that
crosses the line, then they know.
trust me, dude, that was one of the things that was actually kind of surprising to me, but not surprising at the same time when it came to covering the Raider game, was we actually had to register every wireless piece of equipment that uses a radio frequency because they need to know side that or feeding stuff. So you have to go through a whole bunch of hoops. I'm sure he does too. And I don't know. Again, I think everybody's just up in arms about this just because it's Tom. I mean, this entire story of Tom Brady supposedly sitting with Chip Kelly weekly to figure out the offenses and, like, what's going to happen with that and, where you're gonna go and who you're gonna use and all that. I don't think there's any validity to that, to be honest with you. Pete Carroll swiftly stamped that out in
Yes,
the
I heard
post-game press
that.
conference, said that's not true at all. Now, he did say that he and Tom talk, but it's more personal stuff. It's not necessarily game plan. And again, as much as I would like to say Tom Brady is a control freak that wants to just have control of everything, let's not forget he's still a minority owner. It's not like he can just walk in here and tell everybody you're all fired.
Yeah.
He's just part of
He
the
doesn't have
ownership group.
the power. He's just the big name in that list. It's just like
Exactly.
the Dolphins. They've got, Serena and Venus, but they're not sitting in there in meetings or doing,
Exactly.
spy work for them,
Exactly.
obviously.
And at the end of the day, the person that's actually happiest about this, in my opinion, is Davis, Mark Davis. Because have you heard a peep of anybody talking about him this
Nope.
year at all?
And we're thankful for that.
Yes, we are actually very thankful for that. But again, I just that's what it looks like to me is that everybody's just freaking out because it's Tom. It's just like the Aaron Rodgers thing with the media. Everybody loves to just jump on the Aaron Rodgers thing. Anytime he talks, everybody's talking about it or badgering him or throwing him in the dirt just because it's Aaron Rodgers. It's like it's the same thing here with Tom. When we have these pre-existing ideas of who these quarterbacks are specifically, we like to believe that that's who they are and that they're control freaks and they have to have their hands in everything. It's like he could just be trying to help the team. Because let's be honest, he wouldn't have put money into the team if he one didn't think that they would be a contender at one point, or two, he could help them do that. So at the end of the day, that's all he's trying to do is help the team that he has stake in be good
And
while also trying to, keep his own job.
and keep his name in it. But I mean, surprisingly, he's pretty damn good at play by play. So I
So when
will
you actually allow someone in on the production meetings, look what happens,
look what
Sparky.
happens when they can actually prep.
Everybody's sitting there saying, "God, he was awful in his." Yeah, he couldn't prep, yo. All he could do was walk into the booth and say, "All right, headset on. What do I need to talk about today? Because I have no idea." Like being somebody who's been in that situation, not fun at all. It's really hard to look good.
Speaking of play by play, we're going to take our break. We'll get back into our Renegade report. We'll talk about the tough loss last week in Ventura. With we got Kenny Calvin joining us right after the break, right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. And as we do every single Wednesday, it's time for our Renegade Report right here. And it's time to talk to Kenny Cal. Bakersfield, Bakersfield College Renegades. I've got an echo in my ear, gentlemen. I apologize. How are you?
Doing fantastic, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, heartbreaking loss, unfortunately, against Ventura. How do we feel?
Little frustrated based on the fact that when you have more total yardage than a team, you expect to beat them. When you play better defense than a team, you expect to beat them. However, when you have 5 turnovers and uncharacteristic penalties, you end up on a losing end. And another quarterback that was hard to contain and keep in the pocket. We talked about how quarterbacks that are able to move the pocket and extend plays give us problems, and that's exactly what happened versus Ventura.
And that's what I was going to say. You guys kind of prepared us last week. Was expecting, a quarterback that can also run while throwing, and we saw it in the second half.
Yeah. Seeing how effective he was, that play in the second half where he had that quarterback keeper and scampered for like 40 yards untouched was, definitely a nail in the coffin from a perspective of, just not being able to handle him.
Or the fumble that wasn't called a fumble.
and the fumble that wasn't called a fumble.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah. Definitely a tough outing for us this weekend. Good to see us not give up and fight back and try to make it a interesting game at the end, but definitely too many turnovers.
I've had an opportunity to chat up with a little bit of the coaching staff, and their main stress is to continue to do what they're doing just to protect the football. Obviously, they're going to go back to looking at what was the cause of a lot of these turnovers, and on top of that, where these penalty yards came about and how they were in inopportune times. I mean, even though the penalties were pretty much even between the two teams, it was the time in which they came. And I know when I talked to Coach Chapman, the running backs coach, who I have a chance to see every day at East High, he was saying exactly that. He said, it seemed like as soon as we got things cooking, we were about to, get things rolling, we shoot ourselves in the foot. We back ourselves up out of manageable third downs. We have to punt. He goes, we got a kicker now who we can really rely on. And he goes, and we make these penalties that make us, instead of a 3rd and 5, all of a sudden we're like 3rd and 30. So that, and on top of it, we're talking to the defensive coaches. They said, look, we can do a lot of things. We liked what we did in the second half quite a bit. They're, some of those schemes that they had in the first half, it just didn't work like they wanted it to. They fixed it and limited them to only 10 points in the second half. But it's hard to overcome 5 turnovers, like Kenny was saying.
Well, like any sport, this is how we find out how this team bounces back after, a big loss. Now we go in, we're back at home this weekend. I believe the kickoff is early. We got a 4:00 kickoff. So we hope everybody gets out to Memorial Stadium. But how can we, you guys probably know a little bit more than we do, but going into this game against Golden West, what can we expect?
We can expect a power ground game out of one of our premier teams in the country. I'll say they're coming off 3 of the biggest wins in their program history. You beat Mount Sac 31-13, Riverside
San
42.
Jacinto.
Mount San Jacinto. I'm sorry, 31-13, Riverside 42-35, and Allen Hancock 55-0. We beat an Allen Hancock team a few weeks ago, but we didn't beat them 55-0. So it lets you know how capable this team is that we're going to face in Golden West.
Well, I mean, you brought it up. Is that what they do? Is a running team that we need to, stack that box?
They're another team that's going to use that spread look to make it appear like they're passing and eat you up on the running game. How many times have we seen that, guys? 4 wide, three receivers split to the left, one split to the right, and they're running inside zone reads all night, right? That's what the offensive game has turned into. And when you got a few guys that can actually continue to move that ball, that's going to be a very successful offense, because as a defense, you have to match up to those receivers. When you have these 4 speedy guys out here, and the ability to run with just your front 5 or 6 is definitely key. And that's one of the things that has given us problems over the past 3 weeks, I'd say.
Kenny, you've obviously coached at this level. What do you do when you go up against a team like this that's just on a tear and is killing people by 50 points? How do you really prepare for somebody like this to slow down something that's that prolific?
You have to change your scheme to dictate pace. I'm glad you asked that, because the only way that you actually can beat teams that you may be undermatched with, or have dynamic players on certain positions, you have to dictate scheme. You have to blitz when they're not expecting it. You have to stem coverages, and when I say stem coverages, it's lining up like you're in a single high safety and pulling a guy to be too deep in the last seconds. You have to play chess games with the coordinators to catch them off guard, and that's the only way that you can actually really stop these very successful offenses, is having the chess match won in your perspective.
So is there a specific way that you guys really go about that? I know film obviously shows a lot of the mistakes that these guys can make, and you want to capitalize on that. Is there anything that you guys have seen before this game starts that you can let us know that maybe they're going to attack going into this?
Rob, I'll let you respond on that based on your conversations with Coach Dameron this week.
Yeah, I think overall, I don't necessarily think that they plan on doing a whole lot different than what they have done. And like I was saying, if they protect the football against a very good Ventura team who's going into this week ranked 5, and you've got Golden West ranked 4. Golden West came in very similarly last year, and they were riding on their high horse. They had a couple of big wins coming in. They really thought, BC was going to be yet another school that they were going to kind of run through, and BC really had something for them when they showed up. And I think that if they do the same thing that they did in Ventura, where they come in, they get 7 points really quick, especially and right off of a turnover, they're going to be all right. And that's the thing. This defense is a little bit different. This is and here's a really difference in the game. Even as good as Ventura, as good as Golden West offense is, their defense is what is going to allow teams to get in the game with them. Okay, so the Renegades before this game, they were only allowing about 90 yards rushing per game. Okay, now they're averaging roughly 138 yards rushing per game, and this is after Ventura ran for 263. But Golden West they are allowing 248 yards rushing a game. Us as an offense rush for over 230 yards per game. And you've seen we have 3 guys that are very capable of it. So just like I've had conversations with in the past, their best part of their defensive scheme is to keep those guys off the field and for us to sustain long drives. And it goes back to what Kenny talks about a lot. If it's working, the rush, if we're able to get 5 to 6 yards a pop, which we're getting right now, we're going to be okay. And on defense, if we're just able to limit them on the big plays, I mean, Golden West has 5 plays over 50 yards this year so far, 3 plays over 60 yards. They've got 2 running backs that are averaging 9 yards per carry between the 2 of them. I don't think they're going to run into a defense that's as loaded as we are. We've only got 2 guys out on defense right now that are run blockers. We've got 8 guys deep on that defensive line. So it's going to be a pretty big task for Coach Duncan, for Coach Thompson, and and those guys in the defensive backfield to get their guys ready to be able to stop these guys, hold them for less than 9 yards to carry.
That was
Right.
going to be one of my questions. Is I know we got a couple injuries in the last game, but we have an update. Are those guys going to be out?
Chase Furtado is awaiting an MRI to confirm what kind of injury he has. If nothing's torn, if nothing's fractured or anything like that, he should be good. But it was a shoulder injury that he had, so they're looking at possible labrum or something to his collarbone. Other than that, I think everybody is healthy. We got Walker Mino still unavailable with his hand, so they're waiting for him, who's going to be one of those big defensive guys when we get him back.
Well, the last question I had for you guys is I know the weather had changed. It was supposed to rain on Saturday. It looks like it's going to rain tomorrow and Friday a little bit. And I'm just expecting, you said, this is going to be a run heavy team. But, I mean, does that weather in the wet field help, with our preparation against this team?
No. We have one of the greatest fields known to man. Same field as the Saints and the Patriots. Same designer. So the field is going to be able to be maintained. It's not really going to change how offenses approach the game. And one thing I definitely want to say, when you got a guy like Miles Poole, our Renegade Athlete of the Week, we're really not concerned with what teams are going to do from an individual personnel perspective. And, from a personnel perspective, one of my favorite things about our Renegade team was the depth, how deep we were in the offseason, 140 plus guys throughout the training camp, right? So as guys go down, you have quality individuals salivating at our opportunity to step in. As long as we play assignment-based football, minimize the mistakes, win the turnover battle. Like I say every week, guys, I know y'all get tired of some of my same mantras, right? But I always want to say, if we keep it simple and effective and minimize mistakes and protect the football, we can beat anybody. And last week's game was a great example of that because we played very well when we didn't turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the old school coaching ideals, I mean, as long as it's better than every time you score on special teams, you have 35% chance to win the game or something like that. There's always a random ass statistic we like to throw out there. Real quick, before we let you guys go, got to get your thoughts on the topics of the day. First, Rob, you're a baseball guy, so I got to get your thoughts on this. Cal Raleigh obviously breaking Mickey Mantle's record, tying Griffey. How do you feel about him still having to fight for this MVP race in the AL?
Well, anytime you get, one of the two, you're having to compete against one of the two greatest baseball players playing right now,
right,
in either Ohtani or Judge. That's going to be the uphill battle. And on top of that, Cal Raleigh, they play half of their games after the East Coast is asleep. So anytime you're going to be competing against a guy that's right there in New York with all those New York baseball writers, it's going to be tough, but that's pretty impressive. The one thing I will say, though, is that as impressive as those 55 home runs are,
56.
He's 56 home runs. His batting average is sub 250, and even I'm an old school baseball guy. I can't just have a guy that's going to go up there and be a 3 outcome guy, which is either walk, strikeout, or hit a home run. I got to be able to have a guy that's up there in a clutch situation that I can rely on, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a home run. If I need a guy that can get a base hit or get a double, that's what you need, because that's what you're going to need in October. So yeah, it makes it interesting. Sometimes it's boring having to say, okay, we're just going to put Judge and Ohtani's name on the MVP trophy, but you got guys like Kyle Schwarber and Cal Raleigh that are tearing it up in their leagues as well.
That's kind of what we were saying. It's where's the bar being set for some of these MVP awards, right? I mean, you made a very good point, though. Most of these guys don't even get a chance to watch Seattle play because they're all asleep already, and we have no idea who the writers are that are actually voting for the MVP. So, and last topic, real quick, because we're going to get into this on the other side, but give your guys blessings to Sparky and his Dolphins as they take on the Bills this Thursday. What do you guys feel?
Oh man,
Thursday, baby.
I feel so bad for the Dolphins after Achane's touchdown got called back last week. I was sitting and watching it, And it's just some tough luck. For the Dolphins, fighting an uphill battle versus the Bills, man, coming off some rough weeks is definitely not a good situation. As that Bills team is looking like they're for real again, and I'm not sure what to expect out of the fans. I'm feeling the pain. I was hoping that my Raiders could get the only win of our teams this weekend. That didn't happen. But yeah, the Bills definitely are playing with a chip on their shoulder, and I'm not sure if the Dolphins are looking forward to going into that weekend.
Yeah, Chris got a front row view of that
did.
Raiders team.
I was, when the first pass went for a pick, I knew we were in for a rough ride, unfortunately. But
that was you being at the game was the only thing I was happy about this weekend.
Well, I appreciate that, Kenny. Hopefully, it's the first of many, and we're going to send Sparky out there at some point too, if we can actually get him out there.
Yeah, we're looking at the game in November against Dallas is the my stop in Vegas. But going back to the game tomorrow night, I will say not only is it a division game and the Bills has had our card, but when after a tough loss, I was happy to see Miami, at least the offense, look a little better. As long as Tua isn't on a fourth down for the game, I was pretty happy. But I kind of saw that sack to end the game. I've seen it several times. And as a Dolphin fan, I will say hopefully tomorrow we get a better game than what's expected. But I appreciated you guys, and we'll talk to you on Saturday.
Yeah, hey, and by the way, remember the rest of the season at Bakersfield College, free entry to celebrate 70 years
Love that.
of Memorial Stadium. So there is no excuse. The weather's getting better, and it's free.
Absolutely. The fair may be here, but you can still go check out a BC game. There's plenty of time to do both. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Love you guys. See you soon.
Take care, guys.
We got to take a break, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back.
Big
This is
shout out to those guys coming out. I mean, Rob's got a busy day today.
I know.
We
That's
still
why I was
ain't
like,
time to
I
jump
was
in.
shocked that he actually got time to jump in. I was like, oh, Rob's there. Sweet. I didn't have to actually go to a different page. I had to set up the whole thing differently, and I dismissed it. But it
I
is
saw
what
your
it is.
boy Josh Allen is now switched to a visor on his helmet after his nose got busted.
It doesn't
last week.
surprise me, to be honest. I feel like all quarterbacks should probably put at least a protective visor on your helmet because, I mean, as many times as you've been at the bottom of a pile or get hit in the head or something like that, more protection's the better, in my opinion. And obviously, if you could protect the face and the eyes, obviously that's a good thing. But 11.5 is what the betting line sits right now for Buffalo tomorrow night. Over unders, give me 1 second, is 49.5. That's a pretty steep number.
You can call me Delulu or what, but I
I'm
still
taking
think
Miami in the points all day.
I think it's going to be a lot closer than people expected.
Ain't no way you guys lose by 12. No way.
There is a way. There's several ways, but I will say if after what I've heard from the locker room after last week's nail biter, I still think they're going to come out upset. And as long I know Buffalo's going to be tough, we played them tough last year, but this is a new season. It's a short week. Maybe, just maybe, we'll pull some things out of our hat and make it a game. But
Miami has the tools to beat Buffalo. You have speedy receivers. You have a quarterback that's accurate. I think the only thing that really stalls you out is the offensive line not being able to make plays when you desperately need them to. And again, we talked about it with Kenny and Rob, but that last play of the game where Tua drops back and literally has no time to throw it at all. And I know we blame Tua and a lot of that, for the success of the team. And granted, he takes a lot of responsibility for the success or failures of this team because he doesn't exactly make it easier for the Miami Dolphins to win. But I think that you're actually sitting in a solid spot here coming into Thursday night. It is a short week. These games are always different. Thursday night football never goes the way you think it will. And again, 11.5, that's steep. I can't wait to talk to Bolt Brady tomorrow because I know he's probably thinking the exact same thing we are. I don't see how these two teams are a 12-point difference.
I think Bolt's going to be like, I'm staying away from this game.
It's entirely possible, but
but
you never know.
I'm glad they beat the Jets last week because if they were coming off a loss, then I would have different thoughts. But I think Miami's starting to put things together, and I know they flew over the banner last week saying fire McDaniel, fire Greer. But I did see in the post game that the guys are talking and they're staying away from all the anti-McDaniel hate, which I like to see as a team. I mean, even Waddle, even the guys came out and saying we're behind our coach 100%, and we're scheduling and we're planning on this week against Buffalo. We don't care about any noise outside. So hopefully they could put a game plan together and make it a game.
It really just boils down to that. If you could win your division, you usually make the playoffs. Or I shouldn't say usually. You do make the playoffs. But if you are at least competitive in your division, that wild card spot will usually fall to you. And when it comes to this matchup against Miami and Buffalo, you guys know how much of a Josh Allen fan I am. But these games that usually should be cakewalks for Buffalo end up going the other way. So now, do I think they're going to lose? Let's not get crazy. But beat the spread? Heck yeah.
I'm taking Miami to the end.
I will take Miami and the points all day long, baby.
Well, we got some other NFL news. We got some text we'll go over after the top of the hour. And plus, we'll get our 559 fighter coming up, the undefeated 559 fighter coming in at 8:30. Right after this break, we are the early bird special on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special, Hour 2, right here on this Wednesday, 17th day of September. If you are in Bakersfield, it is opening day for the fair. And if you're not in Bakersfield, we apologize. You're missing out. Because the Kern County Fair is one of the best fairs in the country. I'm going to tell you right now. Plenty of food, plenty of stuff to do. Are you guys going to get on the rides? I know you told me that the other day, but you weren't 100% sure if
I
it was going
will
to happen.
if
Are
I
you?
have someone to go with.
I mean, you're not
I don't
taking the
think
boy?
my boy will, but he's got his girlfriend, so I don't think I'll see him after we go through the entrance. I don't think I'll see him
You've been
again
replaced.
until he needs money.
Yeah,
I
no
probably
kidding.
won't see him.
Dad, I need $20 for a movie, which you can't even get to a movie with $20 anymore.
No.
Oh, good Lord.
They went last weekend on their first date and went and saw the Demon Slayer.
Oh, God dang it. I missed that. And I'm so upset with myself.
He said it was really good.
Massive fan of that
Almost
show.
3 hours long.
Yes, it is. Well, it's for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, it's an anime called Demon Slayer, who was just fantastic. Yes, I'm a weeb. Get over it.
Demon Slayer.
It's a lot of fun to watch, and it's beautiful to watch in terms of the artistic style that they use. But this is the final part of that show, which they're breaking up into 3 individual movies that are all going to be 3 hours long. They've been doing this a lot with animes lately, especially big ones. So, I mean, more money they can get, the better. Because basically what they do is they'll take this movie, which is 3 hours long, release it in America and Japan and wherever else they want to watch this movie. And then they will break it up into 30-minute episodes, re-release it on Funimation for anybody else to watch that they would like to, and then release the movie and do it again.
So this is taking place right after the Netflix series?
Yes,
okay.
100%. Yeah, it's a continuation of the series, and it's the final part of it. And it's going to be really cool when it all is said and done. But yeah, this movie is supposed to be very, very, very good.
Well, he said it was awesome, and he said that 3 hours flew by.
Oh, look at him!
But yeah,
he's probably not even paying attention to the movie.
He's probably listening now because he knows you guys are. He knows you're an anime guy, so he was like,
"Funny.
Oh, let me know if he talks about the Demon Slayer."
I love Demon Slayer. I love all that. I mean, we need to get into more entertainment stuff.
Yes, we do.
But
and
football takes over everything.
We got Hop coming in Monday, and I know he's got some stuff to talk about.
I can't wait to talk to him because I just watched the trailer for the Anaconda remake that they're making with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. At first thinking, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, is this going to be a horror movie like the originals, or is this going to be comedy? It's definitely a comedy, but don't get me wrong, it looks like it's going to be incredibly entertaining. But Jack Black is really going on this stretch of wildlife comedy movies, if you really think about it. Because, and again, I know this is a long time ago, but if you count Tropic Thunder, I mean, you count Jumanji, both of them, and now this one, he's really riding this whole, wildlife comedy thing.
And then Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft can count too if you really want to get into it. But yeah, I mean, again, it looks entertaining, it looks funny, and I can't wait to talk to Hop about it.
And speaking of movies, I really want to see him this weekend.
Yes,
I've been waiting for that one
this weekend. I saw Marlon Wayans was on First Take. I'm sorry, I always get that. Up the other day.
The interview with Shaq.
Yes,
was awesome.
Was interesting. He is him and his entire family. I'd love to sit down with all of the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Either together or individually. If they ever did a podcast together, it would crush.
Who's your favorite Wayans?
Marlon. It has to be Marlon. I grew up with Marlon, though.
I'm old school. I like Damon.
Damon is funny. I love Damon in the sitcoms that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God,
The Last Boy Scout was one of my favorite movies too.
What was a sitcom he did for a long time with? I'll look it up during the break.
With Gina.
Yes.
Gina from Martin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember the name of the show.
That was a hilarious show.
It was a fantastic show. I grew up watching it too. But no, Marlon for sure, 110%. Anytime I think of Wayans Brothers, it's Marlon. But that's because, again, that's what I grew up with. I grew up with white chicks.
In Living Color. So
there you go. So it's a completely different.
Damon and Keenan Ivory. But that movie, and I believe the Rock movie is coming out either this weekend or next weekend. But
Smashing Machine.
Those are fantastic. 2 movies that I've been waiting to check out. And I was going to ask you, while we're talking entertainment, I know the Seth Rogen won his first movie.
Did he really?
His show award over the weekend.
I don't pay attention to
neither do I, but I saw his post on Instagram. He said it was the first time he ever won an award.
Good for him. Usually I love Seth Rogen.
Usually gets the the cheap pothead movies, and
okay.
I haven't not seen this show. I don't know if he's the writer. I believe he's the writer of this show that he's doing. But I was going to ask you if you've ever seen that show.
I've seen clips of
Is it called The Season or something like that?
That's what I'm looking for right now. I know what show you're talking about, and it's actually The Studio.
The Studio.
The Studio. It's an inside. Well, it's a satire, but it's an inside look of Hollywood and how these guys live and how crazy everyone thinks their lives are. I've seen clips of it. I've not been able to watch it because I personally don't have Apple TV or one of these other streaming services. I'm very basic. I have Netflix, Hulu, stuff like that. I can't afford all of them, and I also don't have an iPhone, so I don't have Apple products. But at the end of the day, I've heard very, very good things about this show. The clips I've seen are fantastic. Just the that's why I've always loved Seth Rogen, though, because like you said, usually he gets tied to the stoner comedy, just the dumb stuff that no one really takes seriously. But if you really look at his body of work of what he's done in the last couple of years, he's the reason we have The Boys. He's the reason that half the comedies get made in Hollywood anymore.
Ninja
Turtles. Like, he has really taken his career of, kind of Kevin Smith like.
Was it like the Mario World movies too, right?
Yes, I think he has a hand in those as well, which again we'll get to with Hop, because the fact that they skipped over everything in Mario to go straight to this new universe thing that they're doing, or Galaxy, is wild to me. But again, that's all neither here nor there. I'd love to get Hop's thoughts on this, though, being someone who grew up with Super Mario Brothers.
But they won a ton of Emmys over the weekend.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. I've heard great things about this show. I need to check it out. It's one of many shows on that platform I need to watch, including stuff like Ted Lasso, because I've only seen bits and pieces of Ted Lasso. I've never seen the whole thing as a whole. But I mean, again, I'm happy to see guys like Seth Rogen finally get the credit they deserve, because granted, yes, he started in stoner comedy, much like Kevin Smith, but you look at his body of work and what he's doing in Hollywood, this guy deserves some credit, man.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes of him post movies is, while the movie world was giving, Vin Diesel, tons and tons of cash to do the Fast and Furious movies, he was doing movies like Mario and the Ninja Turtles on a quarter of that budget and killing it, money wise into the box office. So if you're a Seth Rogen fan, text in your favorite Seth Rogen film, movie he directed, and we might just give you some Kern County Fair tickets. Just text in 842-2000. And one thing I did want to bring up, I know Aaron Jones is now on the IR. He was starting to split carries with Jordan Mason that looks fresh and good. And they announced this morning they're bringing up Cam Akers from the practice squad. But the other thing I wanted to bring up from the NFL, but Sean McVay.
The plantar, oh God, I cannot remember the medical term for what he tore. What did he do? I didn't get to actually watch the whole game between the Rams and the Titans.
So
I got to see some
he said
of
he
it,
was stumbling, trying to call a timeout this past weekend's game. And he said he came out and he said, dude, I'm not playing, so I'll be on the sidelines. I'll be fine.
They'll be fine. I mean, I heard, I can't remember who he was sitting down and talking to, but I saw a clip between him and somebody else who tried to convince him to do a fake punt. And I sat there and said, same as Sean said, excuse me? Like, well, what? He's like, yeah, just snap it to the fullback as if you're going to fake punt it and then punt it. And then I'm just like, I'm looking at Sean McVay in this video and I'm just like, please tell me Sean's got the same thoughts as me. This dude is high. Like, there's no way this guy knows what he's talking about, right? Like, no. And then he even asked him, like, what down would I do this on? And the guy looked at him and said, second down. Sometimes you just need to mess with the guy in the head. It's like, yeah, never talking or listening to you again. That's wild. But dude, no, I hope that there's no video going around of this, because if he ate it and got hurt doing that, that's going to be cycling around the internet for quite some time. And that's one of the games that I unfortunately missed because we were on the way to Vegas. But oh gosh. I mean, does it say how long he's going to be dealing with the injury?
He said it's going to be a while.
No,
so he's not going to miss any time. He said, luckily I'm not playing.
Well,
so
if anybody that's listening has ever had this kind of an injury with a plantar, whatever, I can't remember exact term for it, but let us know how long the healing process usually is for stuff like this, because I'm very curious how long we're going to be seeing him in crutches on the sideline. And how easy is that going to be for him getting up and down the field? Actually, it's funny. The coach that he usually hires to keep him off of the field just lost his job because he ain't going on the field anymore. If you're in crutches, you ain't going to have any time to get onto the field. That's going to be wild. But
Some of our texts, our boy Dan texted in and said, "How about them Chargers, guys?"
Again, good for you. That was a great game. I am pleasantly surprised from what I keep seeing from them, especially defensively. You're going to have to bounce back from no Khalil Mack, though, for the next couple weeks. But Justin Herbert, I've said this once, I've said it a million times. I've been waiting for him to step into that role and be that guy again. Because when he came in and was drafted, everybody saw him as the chief killer. This was going to be the guy that really competed with Patrick Mahomes in the West, and they were going to really have good back and forth their entire career. And it's not gone that way at all. And we've kind of just written Justin off. This could potentially be that year, especially with Joe Burrow out for 3 months. The NFL really doesn't have that outstanding quarterback right now. It's like you could step into that role and be that guy. And honestly, I could be sitting up at an open mic here with our guy Tyson for 5 minutes. Although I'm saying we're in a push because if you look at the 2 weeks back to back, although granted the Chargers are 2-0, Dallas and Dak looked dang good this week, and he statistically evened himself out with Justin. So we're even there, Tyson. But at this point right now, I'd be happy, man, if Justin Herbert proves me right and I have to go up on stage for 5 minutes. I
wanna
really
see
would.
that. The next one says, "So I lost my quarterback in fantasy and was wondering
You and me both.
which replacement is the safer bet. Should I go with Browning, Mac Jones, or Daniel Jones?"
Daniel Jones, out of the three of them, believe it or not, is the best choice out of those. Don't touch Browning with a 10-foot pole, please.
I thought about
No.
it last night because I did lose my quarterback in 2 leagues. Luckily, I have Mahomes as a backup in 1 league, and this week I went with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, if you're on one of the unfortunate people like myself and Sparky who drafted Joe Burrow in a couple leagues, I would say Daniel Jones is a solid pickup for you in the waiver wire this week. I also am going to echo what I said last week waiver wires. If Michael Penix is still out there, he'd be a solid pickup for you as well. I would just stay away from the backup quarterbacks that are playing right now. One, Mac Jones won't be the starter forever. Once Purdy comes back, he will be swiftly put back on the bench. Browning has only got a job right now because Joe Burrow is out for 3 months. To be honest with you, I feel like if Cincinnati had a better option, they'd probably go to it, which is why I wouldn't be surprised to see them make some sort of move at some point to get some quarterback help because I don't think Jake Browning is the answer for them as a backup.
I know they picked up two quarterbacks yesterday, but they were
Right.
more of just bodies for the practice squad in case.
Mike White, though, is not really something to wag a finger at. He's just been a starter before. He could work his way up there again.
Oh my gosh,
But
I would stay away from him. But
100%. But here's the thing, though. If Jake Browning comes out and throws 3 picks again
yeah,
before he could throw a touchdown,
he's due. I mean, he threw 3.5.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying is that, like, although granted, it's not exactly the best leap to get you over the top, but it might be better than Jake
It
Browning.
might be a Band-Aid, but
Might be.
we'll take our break. We'll get into the rest of your texts, and we'll get some fair tickets out to you guys right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. It is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video-wise every single morning, 7 to 9 on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. Go follow us at the Early Bird Special and the Early Bird Special Official. You'll see us right there. Hit the notification bell and let you know every single morning on YouTube when we go live. You can watch us and see Sparky's beautiful face as he chugs his coffee. And I chug my Monster, and we talk all things sports.
As our listener followed up with the before we get away from the Burrow talk, he was asking, should I release him in my fantasy league, or should I really hold on to him for 2 months?
Contemplating the same question. However, I would say no if you have enough roster spots. I know a lot of people like to have small benches in their fantasy football leagues. If you're a guy who only has maybe 5 or 6 spots, you may want to consider dropping him. But if you do, and you find yourself in the playoffs in week 13, 14, and your quarterback still ain't getting it done for you, I would try to pick him back up a couple weeks before he comes back off of IR.
If anyone doesn't snag him up before then. I know the target date is week 14, so it kind of puts you in a limbo because I'm on the same fence. I'm like, dude, should I cut him? Because my luck, he'll come back early.
Right. And luckily I'm like you, where I have the benefit of having a solid quarterback beneath him because I picked up Penix, but I don't know. I've been really dancing around that question myself, caller. I'm sorry. I wish I had a better answer for you.
The next text said, wow, expected Burdick to come out talking Phillies over my Dodgers, but I'll take it.
Nope. Again, I know how many games are left in the season. I know exactly what happened last night. You guys had us no hit through 5. There's nothing to shy away from there. Shohei had our number, and that actually concerns me for the playoffs, to be honest with you. But I know how these things go. I know how the playoffs are right around the corner, and I'm not going to jinx a gosh dang thing. Nope. You guys, again, you fight hard. I love the Dodgers. I wish I could have been at this series this week in LA, but obviously scheduling conflicts. I can't exactly go from Vegas to LA. Or I guess I could, but that's a lot of money that I don't own. But no, I'm not going to come out here and trash the Dodgers just because the Phillies are better in almost every single way.
The next one says Judge and Schwarber for MVP.
I would love that. Well, I would love Schwarber. I'd love Cal more than Judge. But again, it's like our guy Rob Chavez brought up, and it's a brilliant point. When the writers don't watch you play, they really don't experience the full greatness that is your season. And when that happens, unfortunately, some of the best players go by the wayside. And I just feel like this would be a great disservice in the world of baseball if you did not give it to Cal Raleigh and Cal Schwarber.
The next one says, of course, let people know the last time Philly won a championship. So now they're taking shots.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Again, did I say anything? Did I say anything?
You must have heard that promo that's running.
And when's the last one you won? In the bubble set, technically. So let's not go with this entire route.
He followed up with, I'm still going with the Dodgers to win it all, but hopefully Roberts pulls his head out of the book and also rips the BP guy a new one.
Yeah.
There's my rant. I'm done. The next one.
You're not the only one. I've seen a lot of Dodger fans go to Facebook and Instagram yesterday with the same thing, and I've seen it every single year. Y'all come for Dave Roberts' job
every year.
A lot.
Every year.
A lot. I feel for him sometimes. I'm like, dude, I would not want to be you, because even when you're winning, you're losing.
This one goes to wrestling. It says the Undertaker had Bubba Ray on his podcast, and when Bubba asked how big of a stack of money it would take to get Undertaker back in the ring, he said his body could not do it anymore, so I'm out.
No, he can't wrestle.
He can't wrestle.
But he will make appearances just like he did a year ago.
Right around in his motorcycle.
Yeah. No, they'll definitely have him there. Are you kidding? That's Mr. WrestleMania. He's going to be there. But like him full match wrestling again? No. Let's not get crazy. We're not going to get Goldberg Gunther.
And
Like,
what was the thing they announced yesterday? That War Games are going to have
oh
Team
yeah,
Triple H
so
against Team HBK.
if you watched NXT last night, NXT Homecoming, which again we warned you was going to be a fantastic show, and if you didn't watch it, that's on you, because it really, really was a fantastic show. Seeing some of the best that NXT has created on the main roster come back, including people like Shayna Baszler, who's not even fully on the roster. But yes, we're going to see Team Triple H against Team Shawn Michaels in NXT at some point in War Games, which, if you don't know what War Games is the style of match that is created by the WWE, which is one giant cage that has two rings side by side in it, and you have teams of 5 come in, beating the crap out of each other, and first team to get a pinfall wins at the end of it all. I don't know who's going to be on the teams. I don't think they've really even gotten started with that. I would assume this is going to be some sort of NXT Gold against New Age NXT. So we might see a team of like maybe Finn Balor, Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, some of the best of NXT's old against the new guys right now, Obafemi, Ethan Page, Trick Williams, and all of them. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know exactly what the stakes are. From what I understand, it's Triple H kind of creating a story that he wants to come back to NXT and kind of oversee it like Sean has been the last couple of years. And Sean said, no, 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 this is my product now. I'm not leaving. And it's
Put a
just one of those
backstory to
things.
it.
Yeah. And so this is going to be a pretty interesting story. When it's going to happen, I'm not 100% sure. I didn't exactly catch the date, to be honest with you, but you can go back and probably watch it. I'm sure there are clips everywhere on social media, and I'm sure there's somebody that has an answer to that question.
And we'll have our boy Kyle Pitzer from Dionysus coming in to wrap up the week Friday at 8:30 as they will preview WrestlePalooza and what Dionysus has planned. I know the last couple PLEs, they've had a food truck out there.
Banana bread beer
And dude,
slushy.
and I think it's today they announced a new one because he put up a poll the other day on which one you guys think that they're going to announce. And one was like barbecue wing flavored or Buffalo Wild Wing flavored. There was a cotton candy. And
there we go. Now we're working.
There was a pumpkin spice one. And I personally am not a pumpkin,
Nope.
but people love the pumpkin stuff. So
pumpkin spice is going to win.
I hope not.
Unfortunate, but a pumpkin spice is going to win. I am
People
also
love
like
it,
you.
man.
I'm not a huge pumpkin spice guy. It tastes okay. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying it tastes bad, but I don't get the craze.
I don't get it. Pumpkin beer, but some people love it.
I don't know. I'm one of those people too that doesn't get the whole hype around In-N-Out. I think there are better burgers in California than In-N-Out. Sorry, come after me, I guess, but I find it to be completely overrated. And everybody who sits in that line for multiple hours during the day, you're crazy. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
I'm the same way with Chick-fil-A.
Nope. But yeah, Chick-fil-A too. I don't get it. Just because you close on Sundays, everybody's got to pack you out the other 6 days. Like, okay.
I'll go down the street and go to, was it Jollibee?
Jollibee's
Pop
fantastic.
got me into Jollibee, and that is great. And you can walk in, walk out in 5 minutes.
Popeyes is better than both of them.
I love Popeyes, man. But the last text says, my favorite Seth Rogen movie is The Interview.
Yes, which almost didn't even get released and is quietly one of the funniest movies, honestly, of that generation of movies. I can't say it's my favorite Seth Rogen movie. I'd have to actually look at his entire body of work, because even those movies when he first started, like Knocked Up, Super Bad, I mean, those were fantastic, obviously. Sausage Party, although it's a cartoon and the ending is wild. I never actually watched the series that they released, though, because they did release.
Was it a series or was it a sequel?
I thought it was a series. I think it's a sequel series.
I could barely get through that first one.
I mean, again, it was funny. It had its moments. Meatloaf singing was hilarious.
I remember watching it in the first 20 minutes when they're screaming at the grocery store. I was like, this movie is going to be insane.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, again, it kind of makes you look at your food differently, doesn't it? Kind of sit there and say, wow, what if this was real? And they're like, it just makes you think. Man. I'm telling you, these may be stoner movies, but they were classics, brother.
We'll take our break. We'll get into 559 Fight and their upcoming event over in Visalia. Right after the break, we are the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield, 1230 a.m.
101.1 FM.
I was going to say a completely different way.
Sorry, I've gotten Nevarrete. That's my nickname now. So
I saw that. That's a nice thing. I love the wordplay. That's great, dude. So you started. I'm going to get into these questions when we obviously start the show and stuff like that. But you started in wrestling, right? Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video online on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We're also on TikTok, Instagram as well. Follow us at Early Bird Special, the Early Bird Special official. I believe YouTube, it's ES Bakersfield. Go like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. Today, we got another fantastic 559 fighter in the building, 3-0 in his professional career so far. I mean, you started what, 2 years ago? 2022, so yeah, 3 years ago. No, hey, Jesus, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, we talked a little bit about this off the air. You started in wrestling, but let's go back into the background. How did all of this start? I'd like to talk to you guys about how you got started in professional fighting in general. So what gave you that spark that you just said, you know what, I'm going to try this out for myself?
Well, Well, everybody has their origin story that changes. Mine changes every 3 weeks because I remember stuff. But like I got bullied a lot as a kid. It wasn't fun, but it wasn't like physical bullying. It was very like mental bullying. If it was just I was afraid of getting beat up, and so I would like push everybody away, or I would be really obnoxious because in my head, if I was really annoying, people would leave me alone. But I also made me have no friends. So once I started growing up and I was like, I need to get into sports, I need to make friends, I need to be more sociable because I didn't have any of those skills yet. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast and he's talking about MMA and I start checking it out. One of my buddies is like, oh, you got to look at this guy, Fedor. You got to look at this fight, Mirko Cro Cop versus Fedor. I was like, these are the greatest fighters of all time. And at the time, I was still fully believing that Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris are the best fighters of all time.
Yeah, naturally. You don't even know about Chuck Liddell or Tito yet.
Not yet.
So, okay. So when did that kind of get you? Because you said that you started in wrestling in high school, right? You went to Wasco. Was that kind of the moment where you kind of said, you know what? I really want to just try wrestling since that's the first one that was kind of available to you in high school?
So it was free. There was no MMA in Wasco. There was a boxing class that I wasn't made aware of until I was too old to do it through the police department.
Too old to do it. That's interesting.
Like a youth program.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like usually you don't hear about someone aging out of those programs. They usually have it for everybody. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, brother. Where was I?
The high school.
Yeah.
Wrestling in high school.
So technically, my first martial art was Taekwondo.
Okay.
And then after 3 months of that, they got really expensive. And I heard Joe Rogan talk about MMA, and he goes, wrestling is the best base for mixed martial arts. It's a clip that goes viral every 2 weeks because it's just wrestlers love to repost it. And I took him at his word, and I went to go talk to my wrestling coach. He's like, "You're here to wrestle?" I said, "Yes, sir, Coach Juan. I love you, brother. One of the greatest coaches probably in the Kern County area, and doesn't get enough recognition for that. I love Coach Juan." But yeah, I started wrestling for him, and I just fell in love with the sport. I was like, I'm gonna wrestle for high school and then jump into MMA right afterwards.
Okay. And obviously you extended the wrestling to college as well, is what you told me, right, at BC?
Yeah, it ended up becoming a sport that I love more than fighting, in fact. But turns out I'm a little better at fighting.
Well, it's when you figure that out, the punches kind of land better than grapples. It kind of goes that way.
Yeah.
Right? So when did you kind of find 559? Or actually, no, I'm sorry. This is your first 559 fight.
Yeah.
So when did you find the independent places that you actually got to jump into? And when did you actually start training for this?
I started training in 2022 at a small gym. At the time, it was called One Nation. Under a coach called Gil Medina. I think he's at Dethrone now. And I was training with him for a little bit. I trained with him for my first 2 fights. I fought at MMA Fight Pass, which I don't think they do events anymore. And that was in Bakersfield. And then I fought for Valley Fight Series in Hanford. But that was a really good show. I enjoyed that show. And after that, the gym kind of fell apart, and we moved on to a new coach took over, a new team took over. They had a brand new name. And I ended up I trained there for a little bit. I had a grappling match at Bakersfield Combat in September last year for them. And then I was just like, there's too much, not too much drama, just too much, just like change. Like there was no consistency in the coaches. There was just, and I don't want to bash that team. They were a good team. I'm not going to say they were a bad team. And I'm on good terms with all those guys. But like, I trained at the shoot a couple times for the open mats, and, I felt like a really good fit. The coach was a former wrestler for CSUB. He has all these accolades in himself, and then all of his kids or all of his athletes, they're super successful. And it's like, well, I'm a wrestler. He gets me. We get each other. It's no hard feelings, but I just felt like it's a better fit for my career and for what I wanted to do. And so I fought, and my first fight was kind of a disaster.
Why was that?
I went in on like 2 months notice or 2 months of training.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, at that point, I was just basically a self-trained boxer who'd had some Taekwondo skills, and then I wrestled. And I couldn't take this dude down because he was also a wrestler. So it ended up just being 3 rounds of us slugging at each other with horrific striking technique.
I mean, well, at least you got all the way through the 3 rounds and won that fight.
Yeah.
At the end of it all, right?
I did. It was a split decision. Their coach still swears he won that. And I was like, okay, I've rewatched it a few times.
The judges' scorecard is the only one that actually matters.
That
But
is
since
true.
then, you've won 2 more fights. You're getting your first lick at 559. What do you expect to see?
I'm excited. I went to go watch one of my teammates fight at 559 116 a few weeks ago, and it's a great show. It looks really cool, and I'm very excited. It's not my first time in enemy territory either. I've been up and down the state with wrestling, and then I fought for Valley Fight Series in Hanford.
Oh, right
So
on.
I'm pretty used to not being not being
Seen
the
as-
favorite.
yeah. Well, I mean, are there really a whole ton of or I wouldn't say favoritism, but are there really that much favorites when it comes to fighting? I mean, I feel like everybody kind of comes in on even ground. You guys have plenty of information on each other and how you guys fight. And it seems to me, at least from looking at your record, you have improved dramatically at every single fight that you've done. Your first one, if you said, was, well, in your opinion, was awful, or at least was, one of those situations where you wish it could have gone differently. Your next fight, you ended up winning the guy, or beating the guy via submission in 2 rounds, early 2 rounds. And the fight after that, you knock out the guy in 1 round. So what have you kind of done in the 3 years training to kind of propel your game that much?
I invested in my strength conditioning a lot. That was something I really got into about 2023. Is like I need to be stronger, especially, and that was for the college wrestling season at BC. I was just like, I'm not strong enough for my weight class. I'm not big enough for my weight class. I'm built skinny fat, right? Like Nate Diaz. Like I don't have the physique to be.
Were you in the 155 area with wrestling as well?
I wrestled 157, 165. I would jump back and forth from there, and yeah, I started conditioning myself more, and I hated lifting. I hated lifting. It was to me, it was the most boring thing in the world to be in there moving weights when I could just be wrestling. But it was a necessary sacrifice. So I started to do this thing. I have a friend who was in cross country in high school, and me and him, we were like the athletic rivals in the friend group. And I told him, let's see who can put on more muscle this year. And so we had this whole year-long thing on our Instagram. If you find my Instagram, it's a highlight with everything. It's just every week we take physique pictures. That's and
awesome.
we were talking shit. We were making, oh, my bad, I don't know if I can cuss. We were talking smack to each other, and then making edits of each other, and it was hilarious, but it was fun. I put on a bunch of muscle, and we had our friends judge us like it was a bodybuilding show, and I ended up losing, but it's okay. He was always a skinnier guy.
He's easily he gets the cut a little bit better than you do.
And he had like 11 months head start.
Oh, that's not fair. It's
That's
a whole
really
year.
not a competition. But, we've got 559 fights, 117 coming up next Saturday at the Visalia Convention Center. Tickets are on sale. Just go to 559fights.com, and they always have a huge fight card. It's going to be a full day with plenty of fights. But before we get into the other one, I had a question. You got Manuel Ramirez Lewis that you're fighting this next weekend. Do you know any background or what type of fighter you're getting into?
559 does a really good job of documenting their fights and having them up on YouTube real quick. So I got to watch his last 2 fights, and he's got a really good guard. He's very fast. He finished both his last opponents with an armbar, but I will say he doesn't look super comfortable on the feet. Now, those fights were almost a year ago now, so I'm going to assume that he's been working hard, he's been training, he's been improving his striking. But I do think I have an advantage in the striking, and I don't think he can take me down, or at least I'm confident he won't be able to take me down with my college wrestling experience.
So what do you you lean on the wrestling more than any other style for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Wrestling is it's king. This is the best sport in the world, and it's the hardest sport in the world.
That's for damn sure.
It's gonna take you to it's gonna jumpstart your career if you come from wrestling to MMA.
So I've asked this of a couple of guys who also had backgrounds in wrestling, but do you continue the training style like you did when you were a wrestler? So like the whole old school trash bag over the sweats and all that type of stuff to make weight?
Not anymore. That I've fighting now at a higher weight class than I was wrestling at, so I don't have to do that. I don't have to make weight every week anymore, so I can take more time to make weight. But like my high school coach said, it was like, do your weight cut after practice, because if you're wearing the trash bag during practice, the sweats, the layers during practice, you're just gonna have a bad practice instead of having a good practice and then just toughing it out and having a horrible weight cut afterwards.
I've noticed this with wrestlers specifically, but there's like a tradition when it comes to your guys' training. And if you don't follow that tradition, a lot of you, I don't know if it's superstition, But it seems to me that a lot of wrestlers just don't feel like they're going to have the same kind of success if they don't go the route of, what they did when they were younger and go the same ways that they used to. So that's why I always like to ask. What, besides obviously taking this up top mostly against Lewis, do you have any other idea of what you have to do maybe to get him on the ground? I know obviously being a wrestler, most of your guys' striking is with you over the top of him and trying to control him throughout the entire fight. So is that kind of your ideal as well? If you can't beat him standing up?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try and take him down. I'm a wrestler. I'm always going to go back to that's my A game. But just being smart about it, staying out of the guard, working my footwork and making sure not to get caught with anything dumb.
Fantastic. Any other major highlights that you want to talk about before we let you go? Going into 559 117. I mean, where actually is this one? Is it in Visalia again?
Yeah, Visalia Convention Center.
So you're going up against a hometown boy then.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, before we go, what did you think about did you watch the Canelo Crawford fight?
I did. Canelo really surprised me. I did not expect somebody to be able to go up 3 weight classes and maintain that style of fight, the pressure, the pace, the hand speed, like the combinations.
Do you think he was at a disadvantage throughout this? Because I keep seeing that across the internet that people think that he was just too much at a disadvantage against Crawford.
Against Crawford or Canelo?
Yeah. No, against Crawford. So Canelo was in a disadvantage against Crawford.
Canelo has a lot of years on him. He started professionally boxing at 14 years old, and he's had over 500 rounds of boxing. And that's not even counting all the hard sparring. And boxers spar crazy hard. I went to a boxing class, and those guys are insane. It's just it was going to catch up with him eventually, and he's already been slowing down since a couple of years ago, since 2023. So I told everybody, I was like, hey, Crawford's a better boxer. If he can maintain that pace and not get caught with anything, and in the later rounds, he's going to win.
I just feel like there's a lot of salt from Canelo fans right now that Crawford ended up beating him. Especially,
I'm one of them. Don't worry.
No, I get it, but I'm just like, I don't know. Going into that fight, I just kind of had a feeling. I was like, nah, Crawford's gonna pull this off. Everything was pointing that way.
I had Crawford winning it, but I have so much respect for Canelo.
Oh, 100%.
The way he reacted, and there was a few rounds that I thought he was going to catch him because there was a couple where Crawford was almost dancing a little bit too much and got popped a few times. But I thought overall it was a great fight, and I got so much respect for Canelo, the way he held himself up, the way he, wanted to bump gloves. And I mean, I just have so much respect for both of them. Even when Crawford came out and gave him his belts back, I was just really just excited about that fight just as much as I'm excited about the 559 fights next Saturday. Go see our boy, and we'll pump up the fights until then. But we appreciate your time coming out this morning.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Great experience.
We'll have you on again soon after your big win. It's in 2 weeks, right? It's on the 27th.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Thanks, brother. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video online on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can go follow us, like, subscribe, share with your friends. We're also on Instagram and TikTok. Got a couple more minutes before we get out of here for the day. We want to thank our guests today, Rob Chavez, Kenny Calvin, as well as our fantastic 559 fighter, Jesus, who's going to hopefully pull off the upset this next 559 fight, 117 in Visalia. I hope you guys can make it out there for one of these because they're fantastic venues and they're fantastic events that are put together. I can't speak more highly of their fighters, and each and every one of them we've had has been a fantastic interview, been a fantastic person to talk to. Like, I love talking to these guys in combat sports because, one, it's a sport that not everybody can do. You can't just wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to start becoming an MMA fighter.
Yes.
You can't do that. You can't. I'm sorry. You could wake up any morning. Your kid could wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I want to play baseball for the rest of my life. They can do that. But not every kid could wake up and say, Dad, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a boxer. You don't see that. So, like, these guys have an innate ability in their own brains, a confidence that we can never touch. And I love talking to them about it and figuring out where all that started because I'm not going to lie to you. I was not a wrestler growing up. I was a little bit of a pansy. I played football, but I was not one that, like, if we squared up, I didn't want to fight you. I didn't want to. I was a pacifist, man. I didn't want to fight nobody.
I did wrestling for a couple years when I was younger, and it is intense.
My best friend was a state recognized wrestler for East High. And to be honest with you, watching him go through what he went through in high school, nah, I'm cool. That's what I was talking about with the training. I mean, we talked about it multiple times with these guys. The old school sweats with the trash bags and stuff. That's for real. They still do that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a tradition for them. Like, that's how they get stuff done.
And it's crazy that a lot of the big wrestlers and fighters, they are usually kids that grew up with, being bullied.
Yep.
And they took the smartest route out instead of, buckling up and fighting everybody. They got into training where there was taekwondo, wrestling, anything really to keep their mindset and, that they're not backed into a corner and can't defend themselves. So It's always great to hear their stories. I know we've got two 559 returning guests coming up next month as the October, which would be 559 118.
Yes.
We've got the champs. We got Sal. We got, the guys coming back, which I'm excited to hear about because I believe our boy still has his title.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, no, because he didn't end up having that fight, right?
And Sal Bruno is one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
So I'm pumped up to see it. And if you can make it out there next Saturday, throw on your early bird special shirt on and, Sergio will take care of you guys.
Yes, he will. Absolutely, he will. And honestly, we need to make it out there for another one. It's been too long. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to 117.
That's probably the one I can get to since my Dolphins play on Sunday.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But the fair is here, so it's going to be crazy when you have kids and your wife that loves fair food.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to be, Ubering these people around for the
I wouldn't even say that. You're gonna just have to hand over your wallet, my friend, because at this point, who's going to be paying for the fare? It ain't going to be them.
You got to have money.
It ain't going to be them. It's going to be the guy on ESPN radio. We got any text messages before we get out of here?
The last one was just asking, he said that he plays in a 2-quarterback league.
Ooh.
And lost both of his quarterbacks.
Oh,
and he is screwed. So he is dealing with having to get Carson Wentz is the one he picked up. And he's on the fence on whether he should get Mac Jones or reach and get Jackson Dart and hope that he's starting the next couple weeks.
Not a smart move on Jackson Dart right now. I think you're probably better off going with Mac Jones and just hoping that they can sustain a solid number. This is why I hate 2-quarterback leagues.
Yes.
This is why I hate 2-quarterback leagues because it's not like a wide receiver where if you get an injured wide receiver, you can go find another one in free agency. Quarterbacks are so thin. So when you have a league that's 2 quarterbacks, and I'm assuming this is probably a 10-person league as most of these are. So 20 of your available quarterbacks are gone, if not 24 up to 12.
You're probably
people.
Screwed because I'm in a 2-quarterback league, which is a dynasty league, and we have 12 teams and have 2 quarterbacks, plus they have backups on their bench. So when you lose a quarterback like that, everyone is starting to bid for their backup quarterbacks. And then you have the stinkers that are trying to, take those quarterbacks away from you.
Yeah.
It's
And
intense.
I know it's hard to pull it off, but I think you're better off trying to get some sort of trade going. Probably find a buddy that needs some sort of maybe wide receiver, running back help, and help him out a little bit. Get yourself a second quarterback because it's going to be rough going if you don't.
I was in the same, or I'm still in the same boat, but in one league, I had Burrow and had JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
So I had lost both of them as well. And then the other league, I had a glitch in the NFL app during the draft, which I got 2 quarterbacks in 3 rounds, which was stupid. But now it seems a little smarter because now Burrow's out and I've got Mahomes. But the way Mahomes has been playing, I don't feel really good about starting Mahomes. So,
But he's still a better choice than a good portion of the league because he could always go off on any week. And
well, I picked up
Patrick
Daniel
Mahomes.
Jones this morning, so
Yeah.
it's sad, but I'm still surprised that I'm gonna start Daniel Jones at some time.
Yeah, and I'm very curious. I mean, I've been saying this all off season, but I still am not sold this Colts team is legit. I'm still not sold. But 10 straight drives without having to punt, 2 straight games without having to punt. Daniel Jones found himself a new home. Unfortunately, Anthony Richardson might have to start playing tight end. And we're going to go from there because I don't see them making any changes anytime soon after these first 2 weeks went the way they did. Daniel Jones might be your answer if you're looking for quarterback help. As weird as that is to say, and coming out of my mouth, I'm not going to lie to you, it feels wrong. It feels wrong, but it is what it is. That's the world we're living in right now. That is all we got for you guys today. Join us back here tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. As always, if you're going out to enjoy the fair, be safe, drive safe, do not drink and drive. There will be cops all over the place in Bakersfield, but we got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.